Welcome to the channel, Android Programming Step by Step. In the last video, we learned how to create a simple Windows type calculator. In this video, we will keep the same design as drawn in the last video, but we will change the code a little bit. Keep watching and do not forget to subscribe the channel for further updates. It is strongly recommended to pause the video until you read the whole slide. Once you have read the slide, then you can play the video to go to the next slide. The following topics will be covered in this video: View.OnClickListener interface, public void onClick method, and append method. It is strongly suggested to watch the video till end to see the difference between the code used in this video and the code used in the last one. Design of the app is same as used in the last video. In the last video, we designed a calculator app as shown here. We need to keep the same design. The issue with the code written in the last video was that the same kind of code was written for buttons 0 to 9. Action listener was set for all these buttons, and hence the code became long and a bit complex. We can shorten the code by implementing onClickListener interface and writing the code required for buttons 0 to 9 in just one onClick method. In this way, only one method is enough instead of setting onClickListener for all these buttons. The rest of the video will show how does this work. Let me assume that you have written this code in main.activity.java file after designing the interface. There is nothing new in this code. The same code was written in the last video as well for the calculator app. This code will remain same. Now you need to typecast all these objects. You also need to use findViewById method for all these objects. The next slide shows how to typecast and write findViewById method for these objects. For every object you have defined in main.activity.java file, you need to write this code. We have also written the same code in the last video for the calculator app. It will be required again here in this video. The real difference starts here. You do not need to write set OnClickListener for every button. Instead, just implement View.OnClickListener interface in your main activity, and one onClick method for handling all the buttons from 0 to 9. OnClickListener is a built-in interface to find an Android.View package. The screenshot shows that how View.OnClickListener is implemented. Your code should now look like this. After implementing OnClickListener interface, you will get an error shown in the screenshot. You might be wondering why this error is generated. Do not worry. We will remove this error in next slides. You got this error as you have implemented the View.OnClickListener interface, which requires that onClick method must be implemented. OnClick method can be implemented as shown in the screenshot. Now you can see what is the use of onClick method. This code means that, if button 1 is clicked, then 1 will appended to the text box. This code can be extended for other buttons as well as shown in the next slide. Here you can see what will happen when any button from 0 to 10 is clicked. First you need to get the ID of the button clicked. Then you need to write the code that should be executed when a particular button is clicked. In this way, we can use just one method to handle more than one buttons. Even one method can handle all the buttons used in an activity. But here this method is handling buttons 0 to 9. In the previous video, you might remember that, for every single button, separate OnClickListener was set, which makes the code lengthy and a bit complex. But if you have a number of buttons to handle, then the current method can be used to make the code short and simple. The rest of the code will almost remain same, as discussed in the previous video. This is the code to be executed when button dot is clicked to display a dot in the text box. It will display a dot in the text box if the text box does not already contain a dot in it. This is the code to be executed when the user clicks on plus button at runtime. Here we are using variables a and another variable choice. It is important to note that these variables are defined globally. Variable a will store the value composed by the user before clicking the plus button. Variable choice is used to see what button is pressed for processing. It will hold the value 1, if plus button is clicked. It will hold the value 2, if minus button is clicked. Similarly, it will hold the value 3 and value 4 if the user clicks on multiplication or divide button. This is explained in the next slides. This is the code to be executed when the user clicks on minus button at runtime. It is the same as written for the plus button. The only difference is that the variable choice will hold the value 2 instead of 1. This is the code to be executed when the user clicks on multiplication button at runtime. It is the same as written for the plus and minus buttons. The only difference is that the variable choice will hold the value 3 here. This is the code to be executed when the user clicks on divide button at runtime. Here the variable choice will hold the value 4. This choice variable is used in the next slide to decide what operation is required to be performed when the user clicks on equal button. You can see the code of equal button in the next slide. This is code to be executed when the user clicks on the equal button at runtime. It is assumed that the user has entered the second number before clicking the equal button. The choice variable is used to decide what operation is required to be performed. For this purpose, switch statement is used. The result of operation is stored in variable c. The value of c will then be displayed in the text box to show the result. If the user clicks on Clear button, then the text box should be cleared. For this purpose, this code can be used. Here's the demo of our app. If you have written the same code, as discussed in this video, then you will also get the same output. I hope that you would have liked this video. In the next video, we will discuss how to use radio buttons in Android Studio. Kindly do subscribe the channel, if you have not subscribed so far. Do not forget to like and share the video. Thanks for watching.
Subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button. Click the bell button and enjoy the latest uploads from our channel.